There seem to have been some reviews that accuse you of maybe glorifying Ted Bundy, which I find strange. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, look, I mean, I think the state of film criticism, has become not what it used to be. And there's lots of people who just feel like they have an agenda and they don't want to see the film for what it is, and they want to fit an agenda, which sounds defensive and sour grapesy by me, and it's not. It's just some of the comments are, luckily all the trades, IndieWire, The Wrap, Hollywood Reporter, and Variety all gave us, really great reviews, which is nice, but some of these other outlets just felt like, kind of attacking either me personally, not knowing anything about me. I've spent 25 years in the criminal justice system. I care very much about victims' rights. I advocate for victims' rights. I've helped change laws about victims' rights. I've gotten wrongfully convicted people out of prison. It's something I care passionately about. So to lob a criticism at me that I am glorifying Ted Bundy and at the expense of the victim means you're really not watching the film. The whole film. I mean, you can't watch the last 20 minutes of the film and think we're glorifying Bundy. So it is frustrating, honestly. But we gotta. And again, because you asked me the question, I would never say this just like, as my general chatter, but you asked me the question. But so I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but we had, a standing ovation at our premiere, people in tears, people deeply moved. And then you read some of these comments, it's like, what film did you see? Or do you just have an agenda and you want to be smarter than everybody else? And so it's frustrating, but luckily, we're getting also positive reviews, so I don't want to sound like I have a lot of sour grapes.
The feeling in the theater last night, one thing that I had forgotten until sitting down and feeling it around me was that we've all been absorbed in this world for a really long time, and we're really familiar with the chronology and have, of course, no illusions about who Ted Bundy was. But the movie does put it through Liz's eyes, and you see the sort of person who could string her along for decades, even though the evidence was mounting up to such enormous heights. And when the turn happens, when the truth is revealed, you could feel it hit the audience really hard. And that's just a really wonderful experience to have, just to have that, feeling in the room.
And it's kind of a no-win situation. The trailer that was put out there, I have nothing to do with the trailer, it's the marketing people. And the trailer seemed to show, well, not seem, the trailer showed the few violent moments in the movie, right? And I think sent potentially the wrong message that the film is a catalog of violence. And so that got, he's showing all this violence, how he's glorifying the killer. And in fact, the movie is just the opposite. And now the fact that we haven't shown that much violence, the reason we haven't shown any violence and therefore we're glorifying him because we're trying to hide the truth. It's like, what are you talking about? So, look, I make polarizing movies, I always have, because I try to layer the film and, the hallmark, I think, of all of my films is I raise questions that I don't answer. And the question of why Bundy does evil in the world is just not answerable. But what I wanted to do was to give the audience the same experience of the people he seduced, including Elizabeth Klopfer. So, we're experiencing what she went through. And then even though you intellectually know the movie is about Bundy, because when Zac Efron signed on to the film, it was a big announcement. So nobody going into this film is not going to know it's the Zac Efron serial killer movie. But I think that they give such amazing performances that people suspend that intellectual knowledge that it's Ted Bundy and kind of start emotionally relating to their relationship and to Liz, so that you can understand how you become a victim to this kind of horrific behavior. I mean, Bundy, and that's why I'm so fascinated with him, because he defies all expectations of what a serial killer is. We want to think that a serial killer is, somebody that you can easily identify in society because, as Bundy himself says, killers, don't come out of the shadows with long fangs dripping with blood. They are people you work with, you live with, you love. Those are in my experience in 20 years covering crime, the people who do the most evil, are the people you least expect, whether it's a priest who commits pedophilia and then, has Sunday Mass, or, a guy who's living with, his girlfriend and is a wonderful girlfriend, a wonderful boyfriend, and a wonderful surrogate father to her child from another relationship, and she has no reason to think he does these evil things. Those are the people, who do the worst, and it's a portrait of that kind of seduction, which, as a father of daughters at the age of the Bundy, the prototypical Bundy victim, that's a lesson I want my daughters to have. That's a lesson, that's the deeper meaning and reason to do this film, is that, you know, people need to earn your trust. And that's the reason, you know, America has 5% of the world's population, but we've had 67% of the world's serial killer population. And even though there's lots of names, you know, Dahmer, Gacy, the one name that rises to the top for everyone is Bundy, because he was so seductive. He eluded capture for so long because everyone believed him. So the movie is about that false believability and that deception.